France, home of the Mona Lisa smile, where kings and queens were beheaded and revolution ran awry. We are embarking on a trip to Paris, France together. I've dreamt of this moment of traveling to this iconic city, and I'm so excited to share these moments with you. It is known for the infamous leader, Napoleon, food like the croissant, and high fashion. In this series, we will explore the Louvre, Notre Dame, Dior, the catacombs, and even Versailles. This is France. Welcome to the Louvre, or the Louvre as the Americans say. It is one of the most visited places in the world with millions of visitors yearly. It is made up of different departments including Egyptian, Eastern, Greek, and Roman antiquities, paintings, sculptures, decorative art, prints, and drawings. The Louvre is one of the most beloved art museums in the entire world, and most don't even realize it was once a grand palace for royalty. It was built in the 12th century for Philippe Auguste as a fortress. In 1546, Francis I, a patron of Leonardo da Vinci, began to rebuild the Louvre for his fanciest desires. We'll dive more into Francis I later. The Winged Victory of Samothrace, or the Winged Nike, located at the top of the main staircase of the Louvre, a masterpiece with the Greek Hellenistic era dating back all the way to 2nd century BC. I wish I could have spent more time looking at this disfigured angel as she expanded her wings about to lift off in flight.
As we stand here in line waiting for the Mona Lisa, this painting was actually cut in half into pieces to transport from Italy over the Alps into France. The French stole these works of art, and this is one of the pieces, and they never gave it back to Italy because it was so hard to transport. But they did give back some art, but not all of it. They kept this one.
The Mona Lisa, the most expensive piece of art in the
Okay,
Louvre.
so this is the chaos of the Mona Lisa right behind me. Everyone's trying to take their picture, their selfie. It's crazy madness. Try to get here early so you don't have to get in line in this madness. But it's beautiful. But there are other works of art of Leonardo da Vinci that you can see up close and personal. But this is a fine piece of art, and it disappeared, and now we have it back. It disappeared during World War II. So yeah, it's good to see it in person. We're standing in this room full of Renaissance art. You can tell it's Renaissance by the dimensions and the shading and the shadows and their perception. It's very like dimensional, 3D, and that's how you can tell when it's a Renaissance painting versus a medieval painting. Medieval painting style has a very flat feel to it. It's not dimensional. It doesn't have that 3D look to it.
And in the Renaissance time, they were really playing with dimension and shadow and depth of field and things like that, and depth to a painting. Enjoy. There are so many art pieces that depict the crucifixion of Jesus Christ in the Louvre. Oftentimes, the art would be commissioned by the church to tell the stories of the Bible because the population was illiterate at the time, so they learned through visuals of the master artists. So in this piece, you could see like the dimension and a lot of depth to this piece. You see thousands of little people in the background running around. It feels chaotic. It's the Last Judgment painting, but aside from the religious aspects, you look at the artistry of it all and the dimension and the lines and the organic forms are just very detail-oriented, and that's how you can tell it's the Renaissance, because there's a lot of detail and dimension to the piece. So this painting is really interesting because you see the same kind of colors that they were using in medieval times in this painting, but now you see more dimension and you can see the floor. I love the tile floor and the checkerboard look. You can really see how the artist paints with more of a perspective. The further away something looks, he plays with the shape. Whereas here, it's bigger shape, it's closer, but the further away the image is, the more dimension and perspective he's playing with within this piece. So yeah, you can see all the different buildings in the background with the sculptures and all of that, playing with depth. So this painting represents liberty. France had been going through a lot of different revolutions, and this is the revolution of the 1800s, and it was a gruesome scene. It actually never really happened in this way, but this is a dramatic representation of liberty and the French struggle in everyday life. There's so much death happening in this scene. You can see it all around. People have fallen down to their deaths in such a gruesome way. The darkness of the colors, the light, how your eye travels with the light to the flag and to liberty. It's very fascinating how the artist decided to show the light. And it's interesting to see how your eye travels across the piece to see all of the death, and then the hope at the top of the piece with the flag. Okay, so this piece is very fascinating because it's a very historical moment. Right after War of Roses and when Richard III took power out of the hands of other royals,
and those children were put into the tower. They threatened his place as king, Richard III king. I can't remember the name of these prince, two of them, but they were locked away in the Tower of London because the threat that they had while living under King Richard III's reign. And to this day, we don't know what actually happened to these two boys. And historians believe that maybe they were murdered in the Tower of London because they were no longer seen again. And their disappearance is a complete mystery, and sad one at that.
In the 17th century, major additions to the building were made by both Louis XIII and Louis XIV. In 1682, the Louvre was no longer a residence after Louis XIV relocated his entire court to Versailles. The Louvre was to become a public museum during the French Revolution and was opened to the public on August 10, 1793.
Look at all these people passing up Leonardo da Vinci's work. Little do they know that they're passing up the best part. Okay, so a lot of people just care about Mona Lisa and neglect this whole wall of Leonardo da Vinci and just run up to Mona Lisa. But if you come over here, you have no lines to look at Leonardo da Vinci's work. It's fascinating because you see this face and then that face looks really similar. And it's said that Leonardo da Vinci painted his apprentice's face all the time and body and used him as a model in a lot of his paintings. And there's even a rumor that he even dressed him up as the Mona Lisa. Maybe, I could be wrong, but anyways, it's said that Leonardo da Vinci and his apprentice were gay lovers. So that's very fascinating. So you could say it was his muse. So take a look. There's a lot of amazing detail in this work and in Leonardo's work. So take a look.
I didn't mean to kill that policeman. Well, of course not. It's against everything I've ever stood for.
Top, wait a minute. Seen it from the top. Wait a minute. Seen it from the top. Wait a minute. Seen it from the top. Wait a minute. Seen it.
Now we ascend into a different time. A time of the French Renaissance. Francis I was a patron of art, and he was impressed by Leonardo da Vinci's work after conquering Milan in 1515. The king offered Leo the title of premier painter. Leo took him up on his offer and lived the rest of his days in France. This portrait of the king was actually created by Jean Culiet, and so was this portrait of Francis I as Saint John the Baptist. Kings love to look like saints or gods. As we descend, we go deeper and deeper into history. In each piece, each artist shares emotions with us. Through the use of marble or brush, creating movement that is timeless. Psyche Revived by Cupid's Kiss shows a deep romance between an angel and a human. The emotion is palpable. Check out all these ancient Mesopotamian sculptures. They are centuries and centuries old. I wonder what the artists were thinking when they sculptured these winged bulls. They are so ancient. Let's enjoy a little Gaffelstein vibe as we conclude our tour of the Louvre. Next, we will explore Versailles on our tour of France. Until then, take in the sparkling view of the Eiffel Tower.